This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and things you struggle with most so you can have more energy and less decision fatigue about what to eat, how to move, and you can change your thoughts to flip 50 with the life and the energy you love in this second half. And what I'm about to do is a review of something I've covered before, but I'm in the prep for a stress summit. And given that that's going out to hundreds of thousands of other people, I want to take care of you, my Flipping 50 audience, first and foremost. So I'm reviewing these rules of how do you optimize your cortisol levels, which play such a big role in optimizing the rest of what I often call the dirty dozen. It's really the dirty dozen plus the baker's dozen, if you will, of hormones that influence your exercise. So I'm going to walk through these 10 steps in this very brief but very important podcast episode, and I'd love to hear from you afterward about which of these points is the one that really resonated, or maybe that offended isn't the greatest word, but it is the one that really feels like this is the thorn in your side. It's a hard message to adapt to because of the conditioning you've had for so many years being potentially something different. So here we go. Number one, and you might look at these as the mantra, the mission, the code of Flipping 50 and hormone balancing fitness. Number one is do those intervals early. And we could also substitute intense early. So if your strength training is going to be extremely intense, it should happen early in your day. And the reason for that is that way you are working with your cortisol levels, not against it. Exception to the rule. If you can imagine in front of you, you have 3 buckets. And on your left hand, you have a bucket that is conventional, traditional exercise prescription. And right in front of you, you have hormone balancing exercise. On your right hand, you have adrenal fatigue or chronic fatigue, depending on what you label it. The difference between intervals early is, the traditional conventional is saying, the best time to exercise is any time you will, or get it done first thing in the morning. And that can be true, but not for everybody. Hormone balancing exercise. Ideally, yes, it happens earlier in the day. Ideally, about an hour or at least an hour after you're awake or before, say, you hit your afternoon. So maybe you can't do it first thing in the morning, but you can do it over your lunch hour. That'll work. But if you have adrenal fatigue, you're listening to this thinking, I couldn't even think about it because I get up feeling hungover and I don't actually get going until 11 or noon. And you're the exception to the rule because you need something entirely different, and that's going to be consistent all the way through these tips. If that's you, I'd love for you to reach out to me, because you need a little bit more individual attention. Even if you're listening and 6 of your soul sisters are listening to this with you, if you have adrenal fatigue, the way that it's manifesting, there are some general guidelines, but the way it manifests in you specifically may mean you need personal adjustment, not just a group-based program. So make sure you're getting what you need to take care of you. Number 2 is restore before more. And that means if you do have adrenal fatigue or you are flirting with it, you've had it before, you go through periods of time where you just mentally have the idea doing something and being active would be great. However, you don't have the mojo behind it to deliver. That means before you try to exercise away belly fat, and look better in those jeans, you need to recover, because often if you're not feeling good, you're not feeling high energy, it's a symptom of something else, imbalance of hormones, or maybe your micronutrient density, what you're actually absorbing from food that you're eating, is not where it needs to be. You could be deficient in certain micronutrients. That's not going to help you. And that's not a diagnosis, but something to consider maybe contributing to that, which would mean more exercise is going to make that worse, not better. So you've got to fill that hole up before you go deeper. Number 3 is in your week, when you are feeling good, when you are exercising, you include hard, moderate, and easy workouts on purpose with a plan. What you do today should be influenced by what you did yesterday and what you're going to do tomorrow. It's not a random how I feel workout, because that never really works well. We don't get anywhere in terms of progression and getting better, going from A to B to C and all the way through to our goal and the transformation we want. So you want to include a variety. You have different speeds. You have 3 different aerobic and anaerobic systems in your body. And if you're not abiding by those, you can't get each of them fit. You will suffer somewhat in terms of results and be more at risk for overtraining. Number 4 is plan your recovery. So along with the step we just finished, planning your hard, easy, and moderate days, you also plan the off days. Now, easy might be a recovery day, but on this list of a recovery might be that you spend a day only stretching, that you do an easy swim, or you get a massage, or on that particular day you make time for doing food prep, or taking an Epsom salt bath, or doing a steam, something relaxing. All of those things that feed both your mental and your physical body help to restore it, so the exercise you do on those days you're going to do it will actually manifest itself in transformation and improvement better. Number 5 is sleep first. Before you do anything else, you've got to make sure that you have restored, as we've talked about earlier, but queen and king of restoration is sleep. Making sure that maybe your quantity, but certainly your quality. So it's volume in one or both of those that improves. So if you're not sleeping soundly now, that's the first thing to work on. Potentially that will expand, but for a lot of people who actually end up improving their fitness level, they don't sleep longer, but they sleep deeper. And that ends up being, I wake rested, and that's really what you're after. There is no specific quota. We all operate slightly differently. I know you're going to read, and you'll probably continue to read for our time on this earth, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Well, some people actually don't need that, but some people need more than that. So listen to yours, test it. Number 6 is time protein, 60 to 90 minutes after challenging workouts. You want to make sure that you've left at least 60 minutes between that hard workout and your high protein meal, whether that's a smoothie or that's literally sitting down to 4 to 6 ounces of yummy salmon, or your choice of protein, whether that's plant or animal. But your body has a blunting effect. The older we are, the more this is true. After exercise, there's a blunting effect that makes protein synthesis not quite as good until about an hour afterward. Now, as an older adult, what you do want to know is strength training before protein, if it's timed correctly, will actually help your protein synthesis. And we're not as good as it at 55 as we were at 25. So as we age, even if we're extremely fit, we're not quite as good as we used to be at it, but you can improve by making sure that you're doing everything on your side. So wait 60 minutes after tough workouts, If you went for a walk, it's a non-factor. In fact, you want to be careful about overcompensating with eating. Don't do that, okay? Number 7 is reach fatigue. Huge difference here between getting tired from exercise, whether that's during or after, and fatigue. We're talking muscular fatigue. If you're doing strength training, at the end of a set, you should feel as if I really can't do another good quality repetition. You want to feel that. So when you put those weights down, here's what happens. You will, for a minute or two, maybe feel that fatigue and not actually want to repeat that exercise. That's going to go away. That's not going to live with you and resonate with you forever. However, you've got to get to that point of muscular fatigue in order to have the stimulus be adequate enough so that you change your metabolism. You've got to increase lean muscle tissue, and the way that happens is you break down enough during exercise so that between your weight training on Monday and your weight training on Thursday, for instance, your rest, your recovery, your adequate calories and protein support rebuilding and repairing of that muscle. Because when a muscle repairs after a tough workout, it doesn't repair to the same status, it repairs over and above. That's called getting stronger or more endurance. Number 8 is skip the long and slow slogging. So the slow jog that is just kind of the hour of power. It once worked for you potentially, but doing that same, whether it's jogging or it's walking or riding a bicycle, extremely low level where you can read a book, you are not doing yourself any fitness good. You're moving, but potentially not in a very nurturing way. So if you're moving so slowly you could read a book, probably you'd be better off going for a slow, easy walk outdoors. And inside, you want to get after it. Exercise should be exercise with purpose. Hard enough that you feel the need for recovery and or you keep it short. That long, slow jogging actually increases cortisol levels, which means your body is going to hold on to fat. It's not going to let go of it because it's stressed. Number 9, do it for joy, not for calories. And we've been so conditioned to calories in, calories out. We eat less, and if we exercise more, then surely we will lose weight. It's going to backfire if it hasn't already. We put our bodies under stress when we do that. And a body confused doesn't do anything. It's like you having too many choices when you go to the store. You've got 14 pairs of shoes you really, really want. It's hard to make a choice, and so you don't. And likewise, having a few good choices is really a better way to make the decision that you want. The same is here. You want to make sure that you're exercising for the joy, not for the calories. You're choosing activities, whether it's because they include music, or they're with a group and you like exercising with a group, or you love to be outdoors and do things by yourself for some peace of mind. Maybe it's with your dog or a spouse or a best friend. Figure out what makes exercise fun for you, even if that might feel like a reach today. So the very first step would be an exercise that you do that makes you feel good after. The next step would be, I hope that you learn to enjoy while you're doing it. That's the ultimate. Number 10 is move more and exercise less. So although in our 2019 lives and beyond, we have such sedentary work jobs in our contemporary living, and unfortunately everything is so automated that we do need quote unquote formal exercise. But the more you move throughout the day and the more you pay attention to eating well, to thrive, and not just to reward or to punish your body, the less formal exercise you need. Do you need it? Yes. High intensity interval training potentially, slower walks, doing weight training, but the rest of it should all be movement. walking the dog shouldn't necessarily feel like exercise. You should be moving so much in every single day that that is natural. Getting back to a little bit more, this is commuting. This is simply what my body needs to do for maintenance. Like brushing your teeth, your body requires a little maintenance. And on a daily basis, that is movement. And you will feel better because of it. So, if you have a question or you have a comment about one of those feeling maybe most confusing or hardest, most confounding to get through, let me know what it is. Leave your comment below the show link at flipping50.com, where you'll find the podcast link under resources. And join us on the Flipping 50 TV Facebook page to get all the juicy resources and links mentioned in this show, or the reference to the 10 hottest tips that you can follow. Visit today's show notes at flipping50.com. And know that right now we are, for the very first time for the 28-day Kickstart, advertising the Buddy Pass. So if you've got a buddy and the two of you want to get in, you can get in and save together a total of $30 off registration fee. So each of you gets in, or both of you gets in, for $167 as opposed to $97 each. You can work out the difference. So you can gift it or you can simply split it. Be sure to share this with a friend to surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. What are you waiting for? Start Flipping 50 today.